It has been a long time since the last Battlefield video on my channel, but DICE does know how to get my attention. Good old nostalgia. Hey folks, I am Dave, the not-so-evil Viking 13, and today I am back on the battlefield in Dragon Valley. This time, not back in high school in Battlefield 2, but here in Battlefield 4 in the community test environment. Yesterday, DICE pushed an update to the CTE that added Dragon Valley to Battlefield 4 in its redesigned glory. You guys might remember back in December, I think it was, they polled the community to ask if you could have a classic Battlefield map come back in Battlefield 4, which one would it be? DICE then took those results and looked through which maps best represented classic Battlefield style, like large and tons of vehicles, and then the dev team weighed in, and Dragon Valley is what they came up with. They are currently developing the map and are planning to release it in a free update to everybody in Battlefield 4. So guys, this is why this grabbed my attention so quickly. Back when I played Battlefield 2, I was on dial-up internet, which means I didn't really play Battlefield 2. I played Battlefield 2 single player. And then, occasionally, I would drag my PC over to a friend's house and leech off of their high-speed DSL connection to play a few rounds of Battlefield 2. And I probably only got maybe 15 to 20 hours of Battlefield 2 online at all, back when I still played it. But a lot of my playtime was on Dragon Valley. To me, the whole concept of Battlefield 2 is just mind-blowing. You know, these large, open, vehicle-based and infantry-based maps with trees and forests you can hide in, and just that whole Battlefield experience. And so whenever I could, when I was dragging my PC over to a friend's house, I was digging through the server browser trying to find Dragon Valley. So when I saw yesterday that DICE was bringing it back to Battlefield 4, I gave in. I hadn't played in a very long time. I said, alright, I've got to check this out. Outside of looks and a few gameplay tweaks though, there's not a ton to talk about just yet. This version of CTE is a little bit rough around the edges. I'm getting a lot of frame rate stutter and even input lag and input stutter while playing. My mouse and keyboard will stop responding for 10, 30, 50, or 90 frames, and then suddenly snap back to life, which, as you can imagine, makes it very difficult to play a competitive multiplayer shooter. But what we can talk about is the map itself, how it looks, how it's laid out, and how they've improved it. Surprise, surprise, this being Battlefield 4 and this being DICE, the map looks fantastic. It's wild to look at the screenshots of Dragon Valley and Battlefield 2 and to realize actually how sparse the cover and vegetation was in Battlefield 2. If you didn't know any better, it looks pretty decent, but then you compare it to Battlefield 4 and you go, okay, wow, Battlefield 4 has some actual forest going on there, whereas Battlefield 2, they were very careful with how they placed their trees and other detailed objects because, I mean, it was 2005. What are you going to do? The updated version of Dragon Valley is definitely a bit darker, but has some really impressive fog and weather effects. There's tons of 3D clouds and details and little bits of God rays filtering down into the valley, and it actually adds a lot to the sense of scale. A few areas of the map might be just a little bit too dark for gameplay purposes, but overall I think it's very playable even as it is now. Speaking of scale though, props to DICE for not trimming things back for the Battlefield 4 release of this map. This is the largest map that we've seen in Battlefield 4, and it has a ridiculous number of flags. This map in its Conquest mode does come with 8 flags, and they more or less are actually lined up with their Battlefield 2 counterparts. This new version of Dragon Valley, after only playing it through those rough couple hours with this, like I said, rough around the edges patch, I think this already ranks up there for me with Giants of Carlea, which is one of my other favorite Battlefield 4 maps, and you can kind of see a theme going on here if you're familiar with that map. It's large, it's conquest, and it has lots of vehicles. For me, it's just that classic Battlefield experience. I just can't get enough of it. While DICE is maintaining the overall scale of the map, I also appreciate the extra work they're putting into looking at how things could be improved or need to be changed for the Battlefield 4 version. I mentioned earlier that the overall cover in the Battlefield 2 map is a little bit sparse, but to make up for it, the draw distance in that version, and in Battlefield 2 in general, is pretty short. There's a very thick white fog that helps infantry to be able to sneak around, and for air vehicles to kind of duck out of sight when they get engaged. But in Battlefield 4, the draw distance is huge, almost the entire map. That's another reason why DICE has gone back and changed the overall weather settings. It's to help infantry and some air vehicles and even some ground vehicles to be able to hide and disengage. They've added those cloud layers, that bit of fog, and darkened the lighting to make up for the fact that Battlefield 4's draw distance is just so much larger. That info does come from the DICE Classic Map Project Prototype blog post, and you guys can get the rest of the details on the Community Map Project and this Classic Map Project right there in the blog. I'm going to post the link in the description. So there you have it, guys, the power of nostalgia, and of course free things. I always like free things. It was really awesome to go back to Dragon Valley, and despite the really awful control issues that I was having, I played almost 2.5 hours of this map and enjoyed most of it. Like I said, it's hard to tell how great it's going to be because it's not finished yet, and with those control issues, but all of the pieces are in place for a really, really nice addition to Battlefield 4. With the continued patches coming out from DICE and this additional content, we're in a weird place, I think, where Battlefield 4 has the potential to be almost an entirely different game than it was at launch, which is obviously a very good thing. I don't think we're there yet, but DICE has definitely used some nostalgia here to get my attention again, and I think I'll be keeping an eye on how this map develops and how the Community Map Project ends up coming out once they finish with that one. Hope you guys have enjoyed this random Battlefield flashback video. I'm going to leave you now with a bit more gameplay from Dragon Valley. As always, guys, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.
Objective Golf has just been neutralized. There's a hostile AT soldier